Casto here, and today we are starting a new series that will show you how to build and play a Sampire character. For those unfamiliar with it, a Sampire is a samurai vampire. It is someone that uses Bushido and necromancy to fight. So I recorded a whole video going through all my setup, all my skill choices and everything, and then 1 hour later I realized that I had forgotten to press the record button, that's in my true fashion. I swear I'll learn how to do this one day, but that day is not today. But to go over it again, the basic idea of this character is that you are going to use a big axe with a whirlwind attack to hit many monsters around you, and you will have a very strong synergy of your skills. Necromancy is going to be used for a vampire farm, which gives us a base 20% life leech. So if we do 100 damage to an enemy, we get 20 health back, and we will be hitting many enemies at a time, so we will be healing a lot from it. We also will be using Nightship for teleporting around and for consecrated weapon, and Bushido because this skill gives a damage bonus to our whirlwind attack and it gives us the chance to parry without having a shield. As of right now, we are a very newbie character. All that I did was to do some lumberjacking to get some damage bonus on access and do one full clear of the newbie dungeon that is very close to the Lord British castle in Lord British tomb, to get some money to get a book, an axe, and I also got some bandages from a farm, harvested the flax and the linen and turned it into cloth, and used the scissor to make a lot of bandages that will get us started. So those skills here are definitely not what we are going to use. We are going to drop lumberjacking, anatomy and healing eventually. The anatomy and healing we will drop once we have 100 necromancy, which will take us a while to get. And the lumberjacking, we will be removing it once we have enough damage so that we don't need the bonus. Bushido on itself gives a damage bonus to swords, but it's harder to find a sword with a good whirlwind attack than it is to find an axe, which is the reason why we have the skill at the moment. Let me just do a quick change in my settings here, and let me show you how the end result will be. So the ideal farm for this build here in Akalabeth will probably be something like this. We will be trading anatomy and healing for other skills as we need them, but this is just a good way of topping our skills at the moment. So we will go all the way up and sword statics, Bushido and parry, and we will get a lot of magic resist because this, aside from giving us passive resistance, will give us a chance to resist mana drain, which is going to be the bane of our existence, and paralysis, which can also be really nasty. We go all the way to 100 necromancy because vampire form costs 99 to cast, and all the way to 80 in chivalry because that's when we can cast consecrate weapon with 100% chance. Those are what we will be doing for the moment, but maybe we could keep anatomy and trade healing for lumberjacking, or for one of Mars, or for camping, or for something that will help with our survival. For stats, we will go to 100 strength, 120 dex, and 10 intelligence because we won't need a lot of this. We will get mana on our gear, and then we have 20 flex points that we will use depending on the gear that we find. We can either go all the way in dexterity for more attack speed and for more stamina, or we can go to more strength for more survivability. And this is the basics of the character. I will do a full series on it, and it will take us a while, but we will get there. We will get all the power scrolls we need. Right now, we don't have a chivalry or a necromancy book, so we'll keep an eye out for them. And it's a it's very weak at this point, but it has a lot of potential. The using chivalry with Bushido is probably the most popular and best way of play Euro on Aussie, and there's a reason for that. The survivability is really good, and that's pretty much all you need from your characters. Like, we don't have champion spawns here in this version of the game, but there are some fights that are very hard, and if you can just tank your way out of them, you get to do a whole lot more. At this point, I'm using a shield because I want to raise my parry faster, but eventually I'll drop it and use a two-handed axe. This doesn't gives as much, but we didn't have anything there, so it's an upgrade. We will be keeping an eye out for necromancy reagents, because I don't want to use stuff for my other characters aside from maybe some market runes once we get our chivalry up. So let's start taking the necro reagents and add them to, oh wow, Goldar, to our auto loot. Actually, we can instantly get necromancy reagents if we type brackets loot and select this option. I'm also doing some farming on the side for my other characters because I need a whole lot of empty bottles for them. Because I am going to raise the poisoning of one of my outlaw characters. So if you see that happening, don't stress too much about it. I'm just grabbing a bunch of random potions that I can use. To start this character, I got 50 in Necromancy and 50 in Bushido because they're very slow to raise and expensive to raise, so I didn't have healing at the start, which made me a few battles much harder. Let me take that, thank you. But if we are very careful, we can just slow down a little bit and let your skill build naturally. So lightning strike is a really great way of getting yourself started, and a very good reason to get 50 Bushido on the beginning of the game, because it gives you a gigantic boost to your hit chance, which is what you're going to suffer the most in the early stages of the game. So let me show you here. Yeah, it's just an attack with a large bonus to your chance to hit. So if you manage to cast it, then I think you get like a 50% chance to get your attack through, which is very helpful. For some reason, it looks like my character is using the shield and the axe on the same hand. Doesn't it look like it? Right hands? left hand. That's funny. I'll make a note of that. Let me just write it down now. War X going on the wrong hand. So it's very important when you are playing to take note of those things that happen kinda randomly, because you can go to GitHub and let us know that there are some bugs in the game and we will fix them eventually. Let me find the link in here. Here we have the GitHub page that we are currently working on for the secrets of Sosaria. I will have it linked in the description. And if you go to issues, there's a whole bunch of bugs that people are working on, and a whole bunch of pull requests with current fixes that will be integrated in the game. So development has not stopped when Zork decided to leave us. It just changed direction, changed names, and if you go onto our Discord, you'll see that people are talking about it all the time, about all the changes that we want to make. But as of right now, the most important things are to get all the bugs sorted out. So if you find something weird and something wrong, let us know. Go to Discord or go to GitHub and we will work on it. We want to make this as good as it can get. We are making quick work of most enemies here. So it was kind of good actually that I didn't show you the first one, because it had a lot of me just walking around shopping trees and explaining things for the future. But maybe we don't really need to explain everything right now. That's an incredibly ugly helmet, but it's slightly better than ours because of the resistance. Just make sure that this is correct, because some of this stuff that I'm getting is not going in the right bag. As you can see in the top left, I am already raising my intelligence that I won't need later on. But it's kind of important because we will need to raise necromancy, and to do that we will need more mana. So once our necromancy is up to 100, then we can start dropping our intelligence. We may also need it for chivalry. So once we are done with this dungeon, we will probably be able to get a horse, which will make our life much easier. We don't care very much about the durability of our weapon at this point, because it's just something we picked up in the store. This is a bit too cheap for us. We can do a whole lot of macroing, grab a few sheep and make them attack us to get repairing them. But that's not very fun, is it? So I will try to do it as organically as possible. I really didn't have the gold to train the skills to an early level, but this is very easy to do. The good thing about this character is that you can hit the dungeons very early. We don't have arms lore, unfortunately, and we won't have arms lore, so we will be leaving a lot of loot behind, which is one of the concessions you have to make when you're playing a melee character like this. But as I was talking before, one of the great things of this character is that he's a very strong warrior, that you get to hit the dungeons very fast, so you don't have to do a lot of farming, you don't have to go kill harmless animals for very long. I did some farming on bears and mooses, which always makes me feel bad, but maybe they had it coming, who knows. I wanna change my title to Bushido, so we do skill name, Bushido. No? Skill name, Bushido. That's weird. How does this work? Yeah. Oh, it's lowercase. Skill name, Bushido. Yeah, now it works. Where's my paper down? Now we go. There we go. Now we are an apprentice samurai. And that's a full clear of the first dungeon. And we are almost at 400 skill points already. Let's deposit our earnings and try to sell some of this gear and see what we get, what we can get. Maybe some training or possibly a horse with all of this copper. I am playing on my own custom fork that has a few different rules from regular gameplay, but I'll let you know if they show up. Mostly I straight up disabled some of the most obnoxious traps, like the things that delete your items or teleport you to the middle of nowhere. So the traps are still there, they still do damage, but they don't cripple you completely, and so it's not as necessary to have a very high remove trap skill. So we'll keep this here, someone will use it eventually. And this as well. And look at that. We have 900 gold. So let's see, where can we find a horse in here? If we can find a horse in here, actually. We have a few gems to sell. And we have circlet with stealing bonuses. Yeah, this would be some good money. We will be on the lookout for lower reagent cost pieces, but only if they had like 10 plus on them. Otherwise, we will just sell them. Look, 144 gold just for one item. There's a healer, so we can get some training in there. Can you teach me my healing? Oh, it's a herb healer. Oh, it's a quest NPC. That's interesting, I didn't know she was here. So there are the miners, butchers, the farmer. There are apparently no horses. There is a druid somewhere close by. Let's see if they sell a horse. No, it doesn't look like it. It's a shame. But okay, let's check the mages and see if we can train our magic resistance there. Great, now we are almost at 30 magic resist. We could go to Britain to get a horse and or to Mons to get started in the next dungeon. I think that going to Britain it's going to be more efficient overall. Because I don't remember if there's like a horse tamer NPC on Mons. Oh wait, we can go to the Moon Gate. And then from the Moon Gate we can go to Davogard, and I'm sure that there's one NPC that sells horses there. Yeah, that's much faster. Just gotta clear this very dense wood. Oh no. On the way to close to the Thieves Guild, there's always a few dangerous enemies in there. And they're easy to notice because it's hard to move around this place if you play with the trees and the vegetation on it. Which I like to do because otherwise the landscape looks very bland. And since people had a lot of work to put all those trees in, I feel like we should see them. Here there's an entrance to the Thieves Guild, if you aren't familiar. But we will be a very honorable samurai and we will not be doing any thieving. If you notice to my skills, I don't even have searching in there, which will make for a slightly harder game, slightly harder to gain wealth. But I'm using searching in so many characters that I feel like I could do a few of them without it. So let's go to Davogard, because the city is very close by. And there's even a newbie dungeon in here that we could do instead of going to Mons. Another thing that I noticed is that when we did the loot thing, we selected the necromancy reagents, and the game decided that it should loot the witchcraft reagents, the ones to make potions with forensics and and necromancy. It's just weird. I didn't expect it to behave like that, but we can live with it. Um, Horse merchant is this way, I think. Yes, it is. Yeah, let's get the horse. And there we go. We have a sweet new ride. I really like the color. It's chestnut. I am very annoyed that the shield and the axe are in the same hand, so I might be getting a new weapon soon, because this one looks very silly. Like the horse is easier to see than on foot. But here we go. It's the third newbie dungeon of Valen's life. If we had a Monaco or a librarian set, we could go search for books in here. That's something I always forgot to do, but it's nice to get your library started. Oh, my sight. This spell. Yeah, she's already strong enough that she doesn't have to care about the non-magicians too much. The first dungeon I tried to do with her, I didn't have the Bushido book yet, so without the lightning strike it was much harder. Now the only problem with this is that I don't have a lot of mana regeneration, which is something that we will fix eventually. We will either be using Wraith Farm and Curse Weapon from Necromancy, or we will be getting Mana Leech on our weapon, on our axe. Oh, mana regen. Resists are a little bit worse, but it's better and it doesn't look as ugly. We found one of those crazy neck pieces with a million different properties when we were in the first dungeon. So look at this. It's going to take me a very long time to replace this thing. another mining gem, physical resist. Yeah, it's slightly better. To me, this is one of my favorite parts of UO, the beginning, because everything you find is an upgrade. Even when it looks goofy, it looks like a bucket, but it's a good bucket with physical resist that we need. Oh, this is the beginning of the dungeon. We should go to the cells on the upper side. Let's see if we find something more interesting here. Yes, it's definitely worth blowing out our mana on the gnome, because this is pretty much the only thing that this and the warrior are the only thing that can actually cause us harm. Oh shirt. Oh, another one. But it has been done. Oh wow. Wow. This gives us a lot of extra damage, but it does require magery to use to put on a weapon. So maybe one day when we have a very good weapon, I will have to ask for help with one of my other characters to deal with this, because this is a very good find. So especially when you have like an artifact weapon, then you don't have to use damage increase. You don't have to use your points in damage increase. You can just do the stones if you find enough of them. They're rare. They're very hard to find, and there are a few different types, but they're great to have. They are also very hard to notice, so be very careful when you're fighting thief NPCs, because they may ruin your day and steal your sharpening stone. I am raising my focus and my meditation at the moment, even though I will not need them later on, but it's a lot of convenience in the early game. Let's get to the Timon. Oh, Gaylord's the heretic. Not much going on with this heretic. let's go to Moon. You cannot safely go to a dungeon yet, to a proper dungeon, because our healing will not protect us from poison. I mean, we could try, but it's probably going to be a very short expedition. Let's clear this graveyard. In case you are unfamiliar with this place, there's an entrance to the Black Magic Guild in here. Even if you are not a necromancer, there's very easy access to a bank box there, which is really nice. Sometimes when you're playing a grey or a red, you really need a place to store your stuff that has no guards around. Fighting on horseback is much easier, and it's much safer, and that's one of the reasons why we disable it in dungeons. We want to have the extra risk. We feel like we are already close to the 40 minutes mark, so we will call it a day in here. So thank you for joining on the beginning of Valan's story, or Sampire. She is going to be very strong by the end of this, much stronger than Victoria was, which was the character that we used in our first playthrough. But this playthrough is probably going to be a bit more focused and longer, because we have a lot of skills to work on, and that will require a lot of gold. But we'll get there. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.